it's David Hatch here again. I'm a business and leadership consultant from the UK, and today I'd like to talk to you about some recent trends in leadership and workplaces, and offer a few of my own opinions and thoughts on what some of these might mean for the future of business leadership. There's a lot of material to choose from on this one, so I've been quite selective and tried to pick the trends or the ideas that I found the most interesting, and I hope you'll agree. Hello, David here. I'm a business and leadership consultant in the UK. Thanks for joining me and welcome. So today I'll be talking about some recent trends in leadership and the world of work that have jumped out at me and that I think are going to be really important in the future. Leadership and business are such huge topics with a wide relevance, so the possible trends or subjects we could talk about are nearly infinite. I've picked a few that I've found interesting or that I've been watching for a couple of years. And I kind of view these trends in different categories, if you like. I see them as really falling into three key areas, and that's ideas, technology, and people. New trends in ideas or theories really covers things like new approaches or developing theories for leadership and management. Technology is something that's in a constant state of change, and with such rapid pace, it's really hard to keep track sometimes. But I'm especially interested in what some of these technological changes might mean for businesses, managers, and even the nature of the workplace. And finally, people. What I mean by trends in this area are things like how we engage with our work or employers, and the basic nature of management or businesses, as well as the organisational, structural or wider social economic changes that have an impact on the people involved in companies. Today I'm going to concentrate on the ideas element, and we'll look at technology and people in future videos. There's three emerging trends in leadership ideas that I'd like to touch on today. The first of those is radical candor. As I've said in a few previous videos, I do firmly believe that honesty and transparency are vital to succeeding as a leader or a manager, and so far this has been borne out by experience. Radical candor is an idea that takes this a step further. It's based on the dual principles of caring versus challenging, not necessarily versus, but caring and challenging, and it's not just restricted to management. It could easily be adopted by everyone in an entire organisation. In theory, and with the proper training, this idea could help to create more cohesive, supportive, and collaborative team environments. The problem with it, in my view, stems from the name, radical candor, which in many cases I think will result in managers misapplying it without being properly trained. And I'm not opposed to the concept or the idea itself. But I do think the big drawback is if you get it wrong, you're not only going to be having a counterproductive effect on your team, but you're also likely becoming a toxic leader. Radical candor is tough to get right, it's too easily confused with brutal honesty, and it can be misapplied with really damaging effects. So to be clear, radical candor and brutal honesty are not the same thing. If you or a manager you work with are known for a kind of the truth hurts, your feelings don't matter kind of attitude, then that's definitely the latter. It's also the top of quite a slippery slope, with the bottom of which is using the truth to justify basically saying whatever you want, no matter what impact you're having on the listener. But if you do see the value in candor and you want to give radical candor a try, then be sure to fully understand it first. Take some time to read up on it, seek training in order to apply it correctly, and be aware that the most important element of this method is that you temper your candor with sensitivity and empathy. Make sure people are leaving your conversations on a positive note, otherwise you're risking straying into that toxic leader territory. And for a leader, really, there can be no excuse for insensitivity when you're dealing with your colleagues. The second trend I'd like to talk about is another newly developed leadership method. It's called Conversational Leadership, And it's based on the idea that conversations are a leader's primary tool in developing and leading their organisation. It stuck out to me particularly because it explicitly defines a form of communication as being central to leadership, which obviously aligns very well with my own preferred approaches. At a fundamental level, if you think of any positive interaction you've had with a leader in your career so far, at the core of that was a simple human practice, a conversation. So even before we get past the name, this method already makes a lot of sense. Conversational leadership goes beyond this as well. It involves the use of face-to-face dialogue between leaders and colleagues or followers to build positive culture, create innovation, transformation, and empowerment in their organisations. And it fits really well with modern approaches to leadership that reject the command and control ideas of old and embrace the collaboration and cooperation styles that are central to a modern workplace. Many of the things I've spoken about in previous videos rely on the same simple basis of a conversation. And I do wonder if this might be a limitation to this conversational leadership idea. Perhaps it's too simple. Maybe it represents a great tool or a catalyst for success as a leader rather than a complete approach on its own. But then again, what's the best way to build trust and engagement? Have a conversation. How can you ensure everyone in your organisation knows the strategy and the vision? You talk to them about it. And where can you find out what matters most to your people? In a one-to-one chat where you can ask them those powerful questions. So it may seem like common sense on the face of it, but I do find this idea of leadership intriguing. Having said all of that, I've not found an awful lot written about it yet, so I think I'm going to have to keep looking into it, and maybe we'll see how it develops in the coming years. And the third trend I'd like to finish on today is, well, it's really even a key theme in the previous two, and that's this idea of collaborative working. It's an ethos that's been gaining more and more momentum for many years now, really ever since the increasingly widespread adoption of agile methodologies for purposes outside of software development. And I think leadership methods that rely on building, promoting, maintaining or encouraging collaborative working methods and supporting or protecting teams so that they work together better, I think those kinds of approaches are really here to stay now. Because thanks to Agile and the software industry, they've been proven effective and they've been proven to get the best results in the shortest time period. And isn't that, after all, the main priority for most businesses? With all three of these trends, what I keep coming back to is effective management in a contemporary modern business environment means successful leadership. And as I said at the start, to be truly successful as a leader means many things, but it certainly includes having a focus on teamwork and being honest with your people. For me, the important thing is that this transparency needs to be about more than just people's job performance. Anyone can give honest feedback about whether you got that task right or wrong, but it's just as crucial to keep everyone in the loop about what's happening in the company or the wider organisation and how it relates to their roles, to the wider industry you might be operating within, and, crucially, to their future in your organisation. As ever, this is much easier said than done, and there will naturally be times when certain information cannot be shared, perhaps due to confidentiality reasons or GDPR, dreaded word, or perhaps just because of a simple customer restriction. But you can still be true to the principle of honesty by being equally transparent about these occasions too. Just make sure that your team understands when and why and what you can't share. And if you're not already meeting this honesty transparency standard, or you're not sure whether you are, or you don't know where to start, then perhaps approaches such as radical candor or conversational leadership can help you get there. Keep sight of the reason why all of this matters though, and make sure that you do seek training and guidance before you try to apply one of these new methods. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it or found it in any way helpful, then please do hit the like button. And I'd love to hear your comments or thoughts on today's opinions too, so do make use of that comment section underneath the video. Next week we'll be looking at some of the recent trends in technology that I found interesting in the context of what impact they may have on business and leadership in the future. So feel free to subscribe to the channel and then you'll get notified when I post that one as well. And as always, if you're a new manager and you're interested in learning more about leadership or developing your skills, then I've put a few links in the description below the video, and you can learn more about my coaching, mentoring and training programs. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time, and be a leader, not a boss.